What if access to advanced AI soon depends on which geopolitical camp your country joins? Welcome to the Automated Daily Tech News Edition, the podcast created by Generative AI. It is August 17th, 2026, and today we are looking at a sharper global AI divide, a massive new wave of money for data centers, urgent security patches, and a small but meaningful step for electric flight. This episode is brought to you by Stock MVP. Stock MVP helps you invest like the pros using data-driven insights. Find the link in the episode notes. We begin with two connected AI developments that show how quickly this industry is becoming, both infrastructure and foreign policy. In a new development, Nvidia says it is working with some of the world's biggest asset managers to help mobilize more than $500 billion for AI data center projects worldwide. Nvidia may also back part of each deal to reduce investor risk. The bigger story here is that AI compute is being treated less like regular tech spending and more like a long-term asset class alongside energy and transport. At the same time, reports say Washington is preparing to formally tell allies and partner nations that they may need to choose between a US-led AI ecosystem and a Chinese-aligned one. If that happens, access to leading chips, frontier models, and key materials could become part of a much broader strategic alignment. In plain terms, the AI stack is starting to look a lot like an alliance system. On the model side, the speed race is picking up. OpenAI has rolled out an Ultrafast Mode for GPT-5.6 Sol using Cerebra's hardware, with a major jump in inference speed aimed at real-time work such as interactive agents, coding help, and analytics. That matters because for many companies, responsiveness is the difference between a demo and something people actually use all day. But speed is only one side of the story. Anthropic says AI risks are rising, even though it still rates the chance of serious harm as relatively low for now. More notably, it says its internal safety tests are losing confidence as model capability grows faster than the evaluations designed to measure it. And in another sign of caution, Z.ai has delayed the public weight release for GLM 5.3 after reporting strong cyber performance in its own benchmark setup. Read together, those updates suggest leading labs are pushing ahead on capability while becoming more careful about what they release and how they judge risk. Security news is heavy today, and the practical takeaway is simple. Patch quickly. Microsoft's latest update fixes nearly 400 vulnerabilities, including a Windows flaw that is already being exploited in the wild. Cisco has also disclosed an actively exploited firewall issue that can knock affected devices offline. Zoom has patched a critical zero-click bug that could let one meeting participant run code on another machine, and SAP has fixed a maximum severity flaw affecting commerce systems. For enterprise IT teams, this is one of those weeks where delaying updates is hard to justify. There are also several stories about trust breaking at the edges of everyday digital systems. Researchers say Belgium's electronic identity framework was effectively compromised through serious weaknesses in a browser extension, raising concerns about how national identity systems depend on consumer software. RingCentral has reportedly suffered a breach affecting around 1.6 million users, with personal contact data exposed. And researchers uncovered hundreds of Chrome VPN extensions that were secretly intercepting browser traffic and routing it through attacker-controlled proxies. Different cases, same lesson, the weak link is often not the core platform, but the software wrapped around it. Meanwhile, high-end attackers and ransomware groups are still finding ways in. Security briefings say the Lazarus Group used a previously unknown Windows 0 day to plant backdoors in defense and aerospace organizations across several countries. Separately, the Klopp ransomware gang has named Philips, GE, and dozens of others as victims in a campaign tied to flaws in Internet-exposed engineering and product lifecycle software. These are reminders that 0 days and supply chain weaknesses remain highly effective against valuable targets. And to end on a more forward-looking note, Heart Aerospace says its battery-powered X-1 aircraft has completed its maiden flight, staying airborne for just under half an hour. This does not mean all-electric passenger air travel is suddenly around the corner, because the range and weight limits are still very real. But it is a useful proof point that regional electric aviation is inching from ambition towards something testable and, eventually, commercial. Thanks to our sponsor, Gamma. Gamma lets you effortlessly use AI to design for presentations, websites, and more. Find the link in the episode notes. That is the Tech News Edition for August 17th, 2026. If you are tracking AI, cybersecurity, or the future of infrastructure, today was one of those days where the lines between technology, finance, and geopolitics got a little clearer. Thanks for listening to The Automated Daily.